Hi, cellos. I'm so glad to have you in class. It's wonderful. I'm sorry I didn't make cello videos. I didn't know there were any of us. By us, I mean I'm a cellist too. So these exercises from book one, we're going to start it with pizzicato, remembering that we use our orchestra salute, which is the L in our right hand. Okay, and you're going to place your thumb right along the fingerboard here on the cello. And looking at page 4 in your book, make sure that you read the yellow box that is full of information that should be review for you. But if it isn't, then that's okay. We can talk about it in class if you have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and get started right away. This is exercise number 2. Let's read open D. 1, 2, 3, rest. D, 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 rest. D, 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 rest. One of the things we want to make sure that when we play the cello pizzicato that we don't play way down here by the bridge. The string is really hard to pluck down there and you'll get a blister very quickly. The other thing we don't want to do is pluck way up here because it's hard to get the finger in between the strings. But if you pluck right about in here, right about 3/4 of the way down, the cello makes a really nice sound. And when you pluck, you want to make sure that you're using the fleshy part of your finger, not the nail. That makes a different sound. And also that you're not going at it sideways like this and squeezing it and letting it pop back up. Okay, that's a bass technique, and we're not bass. Okay, so we want to use the finger and lift the string away from the cello. That is the correct way to use pizzicato, using the first finger and the fleshy part, not the nail. Here we go. Let's read open A. This is number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, rest. A, rest. A, A. Now, if you were in orchestra last year, this is pretty simple, but I do want you to do these exercises so that you remember where the notes live on the music staff, and will help you with your note reading later on. Here we go. This is number 4, 2 as a team. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 rest. A, rest. D, D, A, D, D, D. Going right on now to number 5 on the D string to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 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 A, D, rest. A, rest. D, D, A, D, A, D. Nice job. I would recommend that if you're just starting on any of the stringed instruments, that you play each one of the exercises at least twice until you're comfortable. Also remember that when you're first starting out, or if you haven't played in several months, if you start to feel tired or a little bit of pain, that you should take a break. Don't allow yourself to be uncomfortable while you're playing. Take that break and allow your body to rest, and then go back to work when you feel better. This is number 6. At the end of number 6, we notice there's a double bar. The double bar signifies it's the end of the song. Here we go, number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 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 rest. A, rest. D, D, A, D, D, D. Well done. This is number 7. Now we're going to be going back and forth between the D and the A string, D and the A string, D and the A string. It's a very interesting little piece, and it helps us learn how to string cross when we get our bow in our hand, which will be soon. This is number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, A, D, rest. A, D, A, rest. D, A, D, A, D, 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 rest. Again, we come to a yellow box in your book, and it talks about counting and the repeat sign. The repeat sign you see at the end of number 8, And where it says count carefully, underneath each of your notes, there's a 1 with an and, a 2 with an and so on. Each one of the quarter beats gets one of the numerals. For example, the first quarter beat gets beat 1. The second one gets beat 2. The rest gets beat 3, and the next rest gets beat 4. So we're going to be counting our notes and silent counting our rests. Number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, D. A, D, A, rest. D, A, D, and repeat. D, D, A, rest, rest. D, rest. A, rest. D, A, D. Well done. You did a repeat. The last one on the page is number 9. And underneath there's a bunch of little dashes in your book. That's where you would put in the counting. Use number 8 as an example to fill in the blanks with the counting. Again, the first quarter note would get beat 1, but the second little blank you need to fill in the and. The and is standing in for an 8th note, which we'll learn about later. This is number 9 with the repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, rest. A, rest. A, D, rest. A, D, rest, rest. D, A, D, repeat. D, rest. A, rest. A, D, rest. A, D, rest, rest. D,